Hey. call wall and see if they do an overnight high failed breakout. I think that's kind of the great setup here given the strong momentum, but it'll give you a few points, probably to the open low. That great of a risk reward, honestly. What is that noise? I think I know. Yeah. Probably have to adjust the call wall, but right now it's kind of hitting that area. Hitting the call wall currently, but we'll see if it 47. Probably have to refresh the gamma levels because of the gap. Currently it's hitting that wall and just kind of falling out, but I might have to refresh them in case they could be more fresh buying about call options be gapped up here. Overnight high is what, 7? 775. Sellers are hitting there passively. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What? That's crazy. So we'll put a limit order, see if we retest to fail. Amazing. Yeah, we're gonna put on the order for a failed breakout of the overnight high. We're gonna gap up. It's typically there's a meaner version at some point, not always, but dips went red. You can kind of see that on the top end here. If that'll play out. Only a 10-point stop play. Back to VWAP is typically what we'll target on this kind of setup. I don't really expect a lot because momentum's to the upside. So we'll see if they can tag me in here. Not I won't have taken the trade. You can see here the short setup is right down the chart. It says over ONH failed breakout. Okay, it might have just been too slow to enter.
So natural. Public story. Oh yeah, it's just like. Guess I gotta get.
Do it. Yeah. And they're holding below the current opening value area low. 504. See if they fill me. Not really in a rush to get fill on this. I don't really want to chase it short because we're gapping up. But I like the trade setup. See if they tag me in or not. The key. Come on, dude, just film me. It's right there. Come on. Tag me in, bro. Come on. Come on. Are you serious? Yeah. Up to be. We will see. I'm sorry? Oh, 45. Let's see if this divergence pays out. Well, again, we're just targeting the VWAP, not really expecting much. Well, it's pretty close by. It's about 7-8 points away. I fell breakout retracement, and then the second target, if it tags, it's gonna be Friday high. We'll see if we hit that. Friday high is at 7486 or 7487. Around there. I'll move to break even after we hit VWAP on the rest of the trade. If it ends up hitting. Taking this setup right here, the one that's highlighted on the overnight high failed breakout. We'll see if it's tagged or not. I'm trying to bid in. There's a bunch of buy delta still. And they're holding up within value. The point of control shifted up. Well, it's not like it was any lower. We capped up anyway, so the point of control would be higher for the session, but it's currently holding above value of the open. If this breaks, probably goes straight to point of control 525 for the so let me refresh the gamma too. Because we had a gap up, 47-point gap up. Waiting for some sort of data right now at 7, I assume, because the tape just kind of slowed down. Yeah, there you go. See, some sort of data hitting the tape, probably. You can tell because the DOM just like completely went blank right into the top of the hour. He brought it down a little bit, but not enough to get me filled. What's the data? Let's see. Consumers. It's kind of low. The consumer sentiment report. Oh, right here, 97. Let's see. Yeah, man. Pretty low. Historically low. I mean, where was it in COVID? Let's see. The lowest reading we've had ever. Look at this. I mean, not ever, I'm sure we go further back, but within the range that I'm checking, it's historically low consumer sentiment report. Cheap. Below 2011? Gee. Alright, anyway. Let's go out of that trade again. Said it was a failed breakout. High potential. I'll scale the rest here. I'm not really this for a big trade. It's just a reversion. Up. Hit the call on, and it just. I want to work that. Up into view up. I want to see this hold. Hopefully, ideally, run the prior day high. Just a little scalp there on the. It was a decent scalp. Short the 907. Okay, I feel that 905 and some change. And then I scaled 5. Nothing crazy. We'll see. I like the one. That's the priority high here and see if it holds. Run a little lower than where somewhere like around there, and then reclaim back above. Test this area and then get back above wherever the VWAP. That happens. I guess I could have just left the hi. Could have just left the let me order at the 907 overnight high and they would have filled me. I just kept pushing it down. Yeah, the black one. They're random. They would have hit. We're not using the brush. Uh oh. Yeah. Let's shift it up a little bit. Let's do that. 15 years the auction. So that call wall was definitely resistance this morning on the gap up, but given the gap, I always like to refresh, especially when the gap is bigger than normal. The call wall now. The wall was resistance. That kind of was confluence, I guess. The overnight high failed breakout. Hit the priority high here, so I want to see it now just reclaim above VWAP for some strength, and we kind of lean on that for a long continuation higher. Got the mag 7 going red. Journals are all green. Let's see. I'm here. Right at VWAP, so I'm just gonna wait and see if there's any strength. The tape's kind of slow. Heading up here. I don't really like the move. But it play out. Not a fan of the way it's pretty weak. See if they end up like they should. We're about VWAP. We tested the right at it, rejected. Now it's just kind of trend. So it holds here. Should hit the call wall right there at 25s. I just don't like the way the tape is trading. Look at it. It's very slow. Especially on a large gap up move. This should be squeezing here. Gonna see that price holding below the current value low, but tape being this slow, so that's another reason I'm just refrain from tape. Okay. Right now 8:30.
Well,
Love you too. Oh. We'll see if this plays out. If the tape were to change, I'll follow along with the long above the VWAP, which is 494. Right now, nothing's really changed in terms of the tape. It's just kind of slow, like it's digesting something. Bye. What it's digesting, but it certainly seems like it's taking in some info. It's slowed down a lot from this morning's activity. If you guys were watching the screen, or if you guys look at DOM, the activity level of the DOM near the open, the first, let's just say 15 minutes, was insane compared to what's happening right now. Right? My assumption is there's something the market's trying to digest. I'm not gonna front run that right now. Bye. Still like the longs. I'm just waiting for the tape to kind of confirm. confirms, we'll definitely just jump right in. Divergence on the internals now, so that's another little hint at a bear. We'll see. Bounce here. Above. What's the low? 87? Okay. 7497 and 7. Yeah, it'd be a 10 points up. So it reclaims 9/7s. I'll try it. 9/7s, reclaim with some push. That's the value low from the current open. I'll wait it out a little bit. Let's see if we can come back in. I'll get long there. The tape, again, the tape is really slow. The Dow doing Dow's right at VWAP, so is NQ. Things are kind of balanced here. Let's see. Value's up 1%, so some actually we choose AC is kind of cold here. There. Let's see if we can reclaim here. The failed breakout of the overnight high worked out. And would have tapped the party high that had that. So that's okay. We scaled appropriately, I felt, based on what I thought was possible at the time. If the tape changes quickly, I will I have a hotkey to buy. To buy. So if I do buy, it'll probably be rather quickly. If the tape starts to get a bid. Right now the tape has not changed. It's been the same. And what I don't like is when the tape is behaving like this, the DOM, and it's below a value area low, it's typically, unfortunately, leads to a breakdown. You know, a breakdown wouldn't be bearish per se on the higher time frame, but it would probably bring us back into overnight low or the lows from pre-market just around 70s. Aren't too bad. There's a little bit of a further breakdown with that slow tape. Like I said, I didn't really trust it. 847. Probing right into the priority high. If it, see, this is where I want to see it push, like with some volume. If it does, I'll just try a bid. But I'll probably end up trying it smaller size instead of the full size, just to kind of retain some profit from the original trade. And just lock in a green day based on that overnight high failed breakout. We'll see. On the background. Tape's still pretty slow. Again, I'm waiting for that momentum. I don't know if what the market's digesting here. I haven't seen the tape melt down in a volume like this in a long time. This could be an all-day meltdown. I don't know. It's been a very long time I've seen the market do this, where it just kind of slowly, gradually dips. This could be an all-day melt. It traps a bunch of bids, but we'll see. I'm on the camp of being long as we're above the priority high, and we're currently below it right now. I'm back in. Getting some bids here. and it just looks like it's sizzling out again. It's been a while since I've seen a tape like this, but this looks like it's gonna be it could be an all-day sell if the tape just continues to reclaim like this on a very slow grind. Like, I want to see a hold. An all-day fader. This is rejecting the priority high. Let's see. I get a continuation short here against VWAP. Let's. I'll do like a 150 risk, 3 lots. 2 minus here. Up against the VWAP. We'll risk about half the profits from today. This could be a reclaim to squeeze, or me, based on the tape, this is looking more like a failed move higher. And we'll see. If it gets above VWAP in the 94 area, which is currently now the value low, pretty good for a long. So we'll play it out here, assuming it's going to continue lower. Smaller size. Risking about a little less than half the profits of the current morning open short. And then if it does not work out, then we'll assume the value high or the value low from the session reclaims, and we want to continue higher. But for now, we're targeting the low, which is right below the VWAP. I'm sorry, the IBL, for continuation lower. They're pushing here with some buy delta, so where is it? Yeah. Oh, Mr. Nightfall, what's up, man? Good morning. Good morning, or I guess good night for you, right? Good night. They're coming back in. This one, playbook, advisor, journal, case. All right. So, they probably. Oh, the value area shifted. Wow. At least hasn't shifted on Sierra yet. Okay. Well, yeah, it's a continuation of this phase. Well, they are great if they work out for it. Not. See if this fades out or not. Tape is very slow today. I'm assuming it's because of the holiday. Probably why the tape is so slow. It coming on Monday. Market's closed. So it could just be volumes just gone going into it. First few minutes had ton. First 15 minutes had ton of volume. They're probably gonna stop me out here. They're reclaiming the VWAP. I'll risk about a little bit under half the profits I made from this morning's short. That's fine. It'll be green. And we'll kind of let this thing kind of do its thing. A little bit. We're trying to whip it. The tape is still very slow. I'm impressed, but I'm just gonna attribute that to the fact that we have a holiday on Monday. They're trying to flare the tape higher and see if they squeeze. They're looking like they might be able to. Yeah, that's my stop. I'm not gonna play with this anymore. So yeah, it went from 320 to down 180, a little under half, whatever it was. Yeah. What was the expected move? Oh, it's on this chart. You have an expected move out. Where is it? They were pricing in a move into 75, 74 on the S for the week. Pretty close. Overall, looks pretty solid. Held the Friday high. Apes going slow again. These melt ups might just continue. We're above VWAP, tested priority high, reclaimed it. So as long as that holds, technically we're retesting and holding above yesterday's highs. For a trend continuation higher. There's definitely a big rotation today into value. So a lot of the value names are up. Dips are kind of settling in, and then Mag 7's a little bit flat on the day. See how that holds up. I still don't like this tape for longs. I wish I would definitely be long if this was a little cleaner to the upside, but right now it's just kind of slow. What we've had is, what is it, May? Yeah, we're in May. This is one of those times of the year where it's just super slow. Low volume. We've had more volume than normal, probably because of the geopolitical risk and things like that. But for May, this has been a lot more active than normal. I guess last May as well. Sell off. Let's see. It's holding pretty good at the 94 VWAP, and it's just maybe gonna grind higher and test that IBH. We will see. Overall NQ looks pretty solid. The Dow is holding well. What's green today? Is up 11%. Sheesh. All right. Yeah, a lot of the value names. You have Merck up 4, Johnson and Johnson. Okay. A lot of some chips are green and some are red. Interesting. So ABGO, MU, Nvidia, but then Lam Research, ASML, a few of those are green pretty strong. Sierra took a minute to move the value low to the 80s. The Dom did it pretty quickly on the 86. What's it on the? Oh, interesting. On Sierra it's 82, and it's on Jigsaw it's 86. Yeah, the point of control is here on this. 80. I think the Dom has a volume profile from overnight and current session, so that's likely why this one has that on the Sierra, but the one on Jigsaw is different than the one on Tripping. Back to 94. If this fails here below, I'll have to unfortunately try to short again. Below VWAP as it starts to fail, we'll target the IPL on that. Stop will go at the 505, above the value high, 508, 506. So let's see. if this holds or not. This is pretty much the middle of the auction, so either holds here for higher or breaks down for lower. Alright, let's see here. 9.4. Let's see. Let's see if it holds this VWAP. Or if it traces a pretty binary outcome, I would say, but this is the you can see the current profile has like a LVN right below. Oh my god. You can see here. From 98 through 500. So there's a small spread where price just kind of slipped through and it's holding below. I just needed to hold below VWAP to continue for IVL. But if it starts to give 98s, then it's probably just going to continue to pop. Where that LVN is. There's 98s, getting into LVN. If it breaks here, it should squeeze here into 50, like 5 something, 5 something. We'll see. This is the LVN, this little wall that I'm talking about. At the 498. Either squeeze or reject here and continue lower. That little pocket. Overall, I mean, this looks pretty nice continuation. Dip down, test the prior day high, hold, and then continue for higher. The call wall's right there at the 525, which is where the point of control is from that session. I think it's like May 14 point of control. So it lines up perfectly with the May 14 point of control right here. Let's see if that ends up holding. They might do like yesterday, a failed breakdown of the IB and then rip it up. We'll see. That would be the second test of the prior day high area. That's where I'm targeting right now, the IBL, and see if that ends up tagging on this short. And then similar to yesterday, we'll see if they defend it. They rejected the LVN at 98 right now in a little pop. Yeah, the tape. I mean, it's pretty much just comes down to the tape. We have a failed breakout of the overnight high. And the tape just to me is telling me that this is not strong enough to continue higher. It's very slow, but my tape read could be completely off and wrong. It's just the fact that the DOM, the way we sold off. Where's my drawing tool? So when the first 15 minutes of the open, the tape was very, very active. And then at some point after 7, once that consumer sentiment report came out, we just kind of faded out. And I was short here at the overnight high, a little bit underneath. I was able to get all the profit taken here at the VWAP. Here's the trade area. And so when it came back in, even after it was trying to reclaim the VWAP, it was a very slow tape. And then it went down, bounced, hit, and then reclaimed. And so far, it's still holding. Value is still forming above VWAP. But the tape is still relatively slow. So my assumptions are still internal weakness from whatever happened from this dip this morning. But I could be wrong on the tape read. It's just that it's all it is. There's nothing special to it. Right now, the structure, if we're actually looking at the true underlying structure, it's bullish. You had a gap up, test the prior day high, and then it's holding above the prior day high. There's nothing bearish about this at all. Right? If you're looking at the individual candlestick structure of the trade. The only thing we just sold off, held, put in a close above the 15 after probing below on a 15-minute time frame, and then as long as it holds prior day high, it should come into this call wall right here. Right. That's pretty much it. But my lean is just short just because of the tape. To target the IBL. Nothing special really. Or sophisticated or crazy. Just that. Holding view up, still defending it. There's no tick or hold below it, so as long as that happens, I'm gonna get stopped out. You can see how it just keeps touching VWAP and it keeps just holding on all the little action we're having. Right, look. Just keeps holding it. So. There's 98 again. This is where that little LVN is. I spoke about. It should, if it pushes through this time, it should squeeze right into 5, like 505. Right there. It's riding through that LVN. It should be able to push into the next volume node there, 505, quickly, if this is gonna hold. And there it is. Or there's some nice consolidation. We'll see. You know, honestly, like structurally, I don't see any bear the case. The reason I'm short is just the tape. The tape could be just like, and I've said this before. It was before, the holiday volume could be just low, and we just can run up on an anemic volume, right? That's like normal too for the holiday week. It feels a bit early. The short I have, I mean, would you have shorted at 508, 507, 507 this morning? Would that have been early for you? It's all relative, right? Could be. But then again, the question I'll ask is like, would you have shorted this morning? Tippies are intraday. No. They're usually structurally wherever they need to be. They're not always 5 to 10 points out. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're more. It's wherever they need to be. Wherever they structurally need to be. Could be 7 points, could be 12. It really just depends. Yeah. Okay. You know, it could be an early entry. I mean, you're not technically wrong at all. In this case of this trade, holding below VWAP would probably be the most appropriate thing, you know. The most appropriate thing would be just letting it hold. You likely to be a rotational neutral day. Yeah, could be. Could be. Just given the gap in the volume, where we are, kind of relative to value, we're extended from the value or high as we end the week. Is it really worth buying Jigsaw instead of trading on call tower? That's a hard answer, man. A hard answer. Because I mean, the DOM works fine, I think, right? With call tower, there's nothing wrong with it as long as all the data is there too, just as it is here. So the short idea, I mean, honestly, like it's probably better off if I had let it close below VWAP and hold below it and then initiate, as opposed to front running it. Would have been probably a better idea, but we'll see. Euro close in 30 minutes. NQ is trending right into the overnight high right now. Dow is kind of teetering at VWAP. It's a tough game, yeah. Sure be. An edge now, 2 years, still learning the DOM. Yeah. I mean, the thing you can gather from the DOM, it's not like it's going to change much. It's going to be the same principle. It's like it's just participation and volume is what you're going to see on the DOM. Right? How active is the tape? And then how much volume is filling. So like active meaning level of activity, frequency of trade. You know, how much is it moving? What's the pace of it? The pace is pretty much what I pay attention to most times. If we gap up and then it just if we gap down, let's just say, okay, this is an easier example to understand. We gap down and the volume is really high and the pace is really high for the first 30 minutes. And then after the 30 minutes are up, volume just dies down and the pace just kind of slows down. The tape is just going to break higher. We haven't broke the IB high or low yet. No, that's what I'm targeting, the IB low. So in theory, it's like very simple. Like if we gap down, there's a lot of activity. And then after 30 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever, the volume dissipates, the pace slows down, there's no more activity. Most times the market would just break higher and take out the IB high. Because there's no more pressure to sell. Especially if you gap down and then you sell off a little more into the open and then the tape just kind of dies and just slows down, nothing happens. Just breaks higher. Because that selling pressure just eased off. They let go of the gas pedal on the gap and then move down. It happens quite often. That's context that you can derive from the DOM. Right, on a gap down day or a sell off early in the morning. It usually works best on a gap down day. Melt up mode it is. Just gonna grind higher probably to the end of the day. That call wall's right there at 25s. That's likely what they want to take out, honestly, and then it's probably gonna get stopped here. That call wall. They hit the call wall here early into the open, and then they rejected it. Then the call wall shifted higher. Momentum's kicking in now. You can see the tape is accelerating. How do you manage your psychology in this kind of reversal? What do you mean by that? Like the fact that it's gonna stop me out? I mean, I always take a trade assuming I'm gonna get stopped out, you know. I always assume here's two ways to kind of like the psychology is. What's your daily risk? And then also what is your position sizing relative to that trade, and is it within your daily risk? That's pretty much it. And if I get stopped out, that's expected. I go every day assuming I'm gonna lose, you know. I don't want to lose, obviously, so we trade, you know, in accordance to that, but I just, the assumption is I'm gonna lose, and if I so, the psychology is kind of okay, I'm fine. Like I took a L, I expected that. I took a green day, great, you know. Seem like some sellers, yeah, it could be. See. NQ is breaking out though. It's breaking out above the overnight high. We'll see if it holds or not, or if it's a failed breakout on the NQ. But I don't know. I hope that answers the question. If it's more specific, let me know. But if you don't have a defined stop loss before you enter a trade, you shouldn't be in a trade. My stop loss was near the value or high of the current structure, and it's still there. The value or high is that blue part on the DOM. My stop's right above the value or high, like 1 point above. If this sales plays out right now, it can be epic. Yeah, but honestly, yeah, it can be. I don't know if it plays out, to be honest. I think it's more tailored to the upside as it is, but we'll see. We will see. The Dow looks kind of like it's teetering, like it wants to kind of dip down, but it's closer to the overnight high than it is the overnight low. And then the NQ is breaking out right now. It's literally above the overnight high. So, and we're at the value high. So it looks like it's going higher more than anything, because there's not a strong enough divergence between the Dow and the NQ to assume right now that this is going to reverse. And structurally, again, like I said earlier when you asked, nothing here on the structure is said to be bearish. It was bullish structure. We held the priority high on the sweep below, and then probably just take up the IBH. I hope. Ooh. Yeah, gotta go. I'll see you, man. It's just a slow grind. Again, it's the holiday week. Before the 3-day weekend. I think market's closed to Monday, right? Pretty sure it is. Memorial Day, so. Oh no, what? Or I wasn't specific enough. Yes, US including it. Yeah. Opens for a few hours, but it's not really an open. Well, I'll see you, man. Well. Slow fucking tape, to be honest. This is one of those days where you don't really want to be sitting in front of the screen. First hour is probably the move, and then after that, it just kind of slows down. Is it riding right at the value? It reminds me of yesterday. It just was trading right at the value high, and then eventually would go trying along here. Okay, good luck. Reminds me of yesterday. Where it would consolidate right underneath the value high, and then just kind of fake out the breakout, come back to view up, and then eventually break out later in the day. I could do the same thing, or I could rip up. Itching for a trade? Damn, you got like a interesting. There's no reason I shouldn't be stopped out already. Come on. Take it. Take it. There we go. All right. So I took a small L there. I just sit around. I don't know if there's going to be another setup. I mean, we'll see what happens here. The IBH and the IB high, those are always targets for any given session, given they haven't been taken out yet. There's a 70% probability hit rate for each side to trade. So there's about 1 in 10, no. 1 in 5 chance? 1 in 6 chance? That's 30%, yeah. Yeah, 1 in 6 chance they don't break the IB high or low. So 30% chance they don't trade above or below the IB high. Or in the inverse, the same way of saying there's a 70% chance that the IB high or low trade on any given day. Gotta move this. The walls got moved higher. I think the weekly expected move is up here at 75, 74. Not sure if they take it that high today, but that was the measured move as of Friday last week. Actually, now I know what I was supposed to do. What up, Broken Drinks? Long played. I mean, I guess that's relative to it. There is a trend up for sure, but from your entry, I'm not sure where you entered. What's the target? What's the target? Ugh. No, that's the entry, right? I'm saying what's the target? That's how we define whether it played out, right? Like we define a play having worked if it hits the target. Four to 5 points since it's Friday. Okay. Well, in that case, should have taken you out already, right here, 509. If it's a long, it might take out all-time high. That's about what, 50 points from now? Today, in this economy, in this volume, I don't know. It could grind all day. I mean, I'm not gonna say that's not possible, but at the given rate, it seems. I guess you could have a headline. I don't know. This market is kind of funky. I mean, the headlines come in and you move 20 points to make up the remainder 20. You could, yeah. There's an extreme there? Yeah. Well, there's a poor high up there, 54.40. The only thing I'll say is that there's a call wall right there at 23. So I don't know. I don't know. I would say maybe. The call walls are pretty strong brick walls. Yeah, yesterday was a brick wall at the 80s. I think it was at 54.81 was the call wall yesterday and did not break higher past it. It pushed past it, but it didn't close over it. The call wall was here yesterday at 81. And then the day before that was at 54.40s and it did not break either. It was here last time. And it did the same thing. It shot past it, but then it held below it the rest of the day. Most times the call winds up being like a somewhat of a ceiling for the session. I would say maybe not today with that in mind, but I don't know. Where's the call wall today? It's right there at 75.23. It's always on my charts, or it's on Twitter. I always share it on Twitter. Whenever I pull the walls or the levels, they always get populated on Twitter. Which is where the point of control is from that breakout we had that day. From one, maybe that was. What's the percent? I don't have a percentage yet, to be honest. I don't have enough data to give that exact percentage. What I can say off the top of mind is that they hold more often than not. I don't have the percentage. I don't have enough data to give you that. I just started getting these call walls like 2 months ago, so hard to say. The only instance where I see them hold or not hold, let's just say, is if we gap over them. Gap over them or just they're so close to the near the open that they just end up being support. But that was like April movement, which was very parabolic. It's because they're market makers, they're market maker derived levels, so or they're options chain derived levels, so it goes off of where the most amount of open interest is for the options chain on the SPX. So the market makers have to hedge their positioning, the contracts they sold for that open interest, so they will sell futures above that strike price to be net, so to not have to pay out those call options. And the same thing with the put wall. It's the highest open interest for the amount of puts on the SPX. And then market makers will bid below that put wall so that those options contracts expire worthless or with less premium. I hope that makes sense. So it's just like based on the options market or options chain. Here comes the IB high. They're like 3 points away. And then right above that, again, the call wall. This morning when we opened, the call wall was right here. Right here was the call wall, ironically. It was right there. I ended up refreshing near the middle point of the morning. But it was right here, watch. It was at 75.11. So right near the opening highs. It was right here. 75.11 was the call wall. When we have gap ups or gap downs, I usually refresh them once. Since the options chain probably changes quite a bit from the prior day. So I usually refresh a little bit after the open, give or take the initial like 45 minutes to an hour, just to kind of let things balance out and see how people are positioning into the open after the gap. Because things do change sometimes when you have gaps. Here is something I'll share. I reference this a lot. I don't know. It's a probability sheet of levels that trade on any given session. And it tells you even the expiration of the contract. But the reason I always reference, I think I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys already heard this. If not, it's just repetition. But there it is. At least one IB broke 90% chance of the IB. Low IB. H. This actually the last 2 years has been less. I'll see you, Matt. Have a good weekend, man. Thanks for being here. Here it is. Over the last 2 years, the data has kind of dropped down to 78%. We're breaking one IB together. So we'll see if we break this IBH. There's sellers loading up here on the offer. I don't know if it's going to try to defend the move down. All walk could still be there. Yeah, I don't see anything bearish. We're just really high into the standard deviations. He went away. Someone was sitting there passively with 500 lots, and then he just kind of disappeared. That is. Morning, weekly. Okay, let me see. Is that 529? All while there. There's a weekly call wall there as well. How funny. Call wall and the regular call wall stacked together at 20s. It's probably going to be a big resistance. If we break below Valor high, I'll try the short again. Let's test that low end. Alright, see if they break the IB high or if they fail, tuck back in. Who knows? Just consolidating here probably for the next leg into 20s. Below Valor high currently is right around here, right where we're tucking in beneath, which is in alignment with the overnight high. We'll see if we can accept below it. If so, we'll take a short back into VWAP and then Valor low 88s, go from there. We'll see. The assumption is just a mean reversion, meaning we accept below value, come back in, test VWAP. Any further weakness will test the low end of the value area. Right now, it just can test value high, continue, go higher into the call wall, or it can just kind of tuck below. Market kind of favors continuation since there's 330 names green on the S&P. There's more green than there is red. It's not significantly green from the heat map from what I can see, but it's green enough. Where there's a breadth. The move up is spread out over the course of a few stocks, not just many stocks, not just a few. Fix this one. Let's see. Okay. And then go to the script. Studies. Use SPX, SPX, SPY for premium. I use the SPX, SPX chain. this SPY is more liquid, but the SPX has more notional, like higher volume, higher nominal money behind it. Meaning there's more premium associated with it, with the SPX chain, than the S&P, the SPY. In other words, there's more money traded notionally on the SPX chain than there is in the SPY. So then that means there's more push and pull on the SPX chain because it has more notional value, has a higher, more amount of money circulates and gets exchanged on the SPX chain than the SPY chain. There's probably more volume in the SPY chain, but the contracts are cheaper, so there's more volume, but the notional amount of money transacted is higher on the SPX. So I go off of whatever trades the most amount of money. You could probably do like a mixture of both. I don't know what level of complexity that would create for if I pull a Python script with that. I don't know if it'll confuse it. I haven't tried it, but you could maybe make pull both chains. I only do one. In negative gamma environment, are you more careful? 100%. You have to be, especially if the VIX is also in the negative. So with gamma, with higher, that's a great question. When you are in negative gamma, you have to be way more patient with reversals because market makers, they sell into movements both ways. They sell into moves down, or they amplify pretty much both ways. They amplify moves up, or they amplify moves down. Ideally, what I would look for in a negative gamma regime is along at the flip. So if we go back to neutral, so to speak, if we're in negative gamma. But more often than not, in a negative gamma environment, I'm more short prone below structural levels. So I'm more prone to short below the overnight low than I am to do for a reversal in a negative gamma regime. I'd rather just trade like a movement, a small burst movement as opposed to a reversal. In a negative gamma regime, I will likely, if we're negative gamma, so we're below the flip and the gammas and delta is also net negative because there's two different environments there, then I would probably be looking for longs at put walls, failed breakdowns at put walls, or failed breakouts at call walls, right? So you're mean reverting the edges of the walls in a negative gamma regime. Most times, if we're negative gamma or if below the flip, you're going to be closer to the put wall than you are the call wall. So then essentially the best reversal trade is going to come from a call wall. I'm sorry, from a put wall in a negative gamma regime. Because you're going to be closer to a put wall than a call wall anyway. So in a negative gamma regime, put wall failed breakdowns are probably the best bet. But low expectations. Meaning like don't expect a large reversal. Just maybe a move 1 or 2 levels up, give or take. Lower expectations instead of a trending environment where like we grind up like right now. This would not happen in a negative gamma regime. Does that make sense? Those are great questions, by the way. You seem to understand some. I'm assuming you understand gamma and the options chain. Right now we're in positive gamma, meaning market makers are dampening the moves up and then the moves down. So they're selling rips and buying dips. We're in a positive gamma regime. And they're also long delta, which also creates like a trending environment. And you avoid, oh wait, I thought I got another question, sorry. Copy the code. There we go. Do you use gamma, Mr. Esto? Or have those gamma levels? Assuming you have, you might reference them only because you understand the environments. Pretty slow grind. And Q is kind of teetering right at the overnight high. Let's see, where is the flip on it today? I don't know where. Oh, it's far away. Pretty slow session. I mean, chips are, everything's green. Chips, everything. Max 7. Internals are all green. Very slow chop grind. This has been kind of the move for today, right? We just called it after that overnight high failed breakout trade. I wrapped it up. See if they get a breakout of that behind. The only thing I feel like this could be a trap. They're forming a lot of volume up here. Above the IBH. With no breakout of it yet. I'm not sure. It seems kind of weird. Valley or low. Now where exactly where VWAP is. So the Valley or high is right above price. We'll see. Breakout now seems a little harder to do given value shifted up. I like again the fade below overnight high. And we'll take it right there at the VWAP, which is where Valley or low is. Oops. All right. Well, this thing just keeps chopping around. I'm gonna maybe they wait for the top of the hour move. We got like 1 minute. I'll give it a few minutes, see if they break the IBH or if they revert back to the Valley or low, which is 95 area 495. But it's just chopping around, kind of similar to yesterday, where we grind up and then just kind of consolidate for continuation higher. Now, long from here, you're targeting IBH. If they fail, then they probably revert back to VWAP and then go from there. Like 20 seconds. Oh, okay, cool. That's good. Good barometer for sure. Yeah, I'm interested in when not to look for reversals. Yeah. When do you what do you use to get your gamma levels? A little moment down. All right, well, I want to call it here. It looks like it's just top of the hour. We might just continue to trend into the IBH. Just start a new hour, just opened about a minute ago. They swept. They swept a few of the lows here from the last few minutes right into the overnight low. Looks like they're going to use that to fuel it higher. They swept all these little lows there. All right, well, have a good weekend, guys. I'm going to head out. It's kind of slow here. I was hoping for more volatility or movement, but there might be later, second half of the day. Call wall's at 25, so that might be where they want to head into if this breaks out. Also where the point of control is from profile. It's the target area that I wrote out for bulls. And yeah, have a good weekend. I'll be back on Tuesday. Monday, market's closed. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.